Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Live After SmackDown Live. I am Tonya Rodgers, not Andrew M. Swift this week. No, it's 14 Fitzpatrick. Say hello to everyone.
Hello, hello, and thank you once again for inviting me to your wonderful show. Andrew, if you're listening to this, good luck on your spiritual journey on Shangri-La for your next 28-part epic series article on Bayley and how much he hates things currently going on in the women's division right now, I guess.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you in your spiritual monk journey.
Yeah, we can get. So usually, Andrew and I, we kind of at first we were just doing one thing about Raw, and then Raw got to be this thing where you kind of had to discuss it a little bit more in depth. So we saved it for the end of the show. So you want to save Raw for the end, or you want to discuss it now? Because I know you weren't able to watch much, right?
Yeah, once again, my backup TV was out of commission again, so I wasn't able to watch most of Raw. I did watch the end segment, which Tonya will have a lot of words for. Let's save that for the end of the show. Let's keep the viewers.
Okay. Well, we get into SmackDown Live, which, unlike last week, as people who watch the show will know, I wasn't really high on it. I was like, but they've turned me around. So I am actually taking Andrew's spot in doing the review for K-Side Seats this week. So you guys will all get to read how much I actually like the show. But we're going to start off with the opening was showing James Ellsworth, and he was getting ready for his big match tonight against AJ Styles for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And we could just jump into that. I'll go into more in depth in the review. But what did you think about it first?
The opening segment or the match itself?
Like the whole angle for the whole show. What are your thoughts?
Okay, the whole angle for the whole show. It would have been great if it was just James Ellsworth, because James Ellsworth is a shockingly good promo, very good at selling, and the match itself with AJ Styles was great because AJ carried the match and Ellsworth was basically a broom. A broom that sold very, very well in every spot and segment that they did. Unfortunately, they had the black cloud hovering over them that is Dean Ambrose. Good Lord. I wanted to feel sympathetic to Ellsworth. I wanted to enjoy the fact that AJ Styles was beating the living tar out of this fella and giving him sympathy beyond... I mean, they were chanting Ellsworth chants in the arena in Denver, Colorado. Yep. That's the sign of an angle working. And every single time it was like Dean Ambrose pulled the brakes on everything and went, well, here's silly thing number 5,089 that I'm going to pull out of my hat this week. And much like Things and Stuff has her Cena bubble, I have started to develop a Dean Ambrose bubble. Everything that touches Dean Ambrose is something that turns out to be more frustrating than it's actually worth. If Dean just wanted a rematch for Styles for the championship, he could have just done it without, unfortunately, dragging Ellsworth through the mud. He did manage to help Ellsworth a little bit in getting over, but it was mostly Ellsworth himself being charming and likable. Something that WWE doesn't really have with a lot of their faces right now, which is rather strange, don't you think?
Yeah, it is. Well, that's all. Those are all your opinions. That's all you have to say.
I mean, I would like the match. I'm not sure what exactly kind of stipulation they're going to have for the Ambrose-Styles match, or they're going to continue this Ellsworth-Styles feud for another week, because Ellsworth did win the belt. He won by disqualification because AJ decided to beat the living tar out of him. So I really, really am not sure where they're going with this, apart from the fact that Dean Ambrose is involved and it's going to hurt.
Well, oh, okay. Well, I know how you feel about Dean, but I have to say, I was very more receptive to his interference this time because he wasn't the referee. Like I just took issue with a dirty referee and cheering about that. I mean, it's cheating, and to me, it's certain things in wrestling are flexible. Like if a bad guy cheats and he's been cheating the whole match, I'm not gonna hold it against the good guy for like stooping to his level to cheat to win. But like, I just didn't like the whole fact that Dean Ambrose was the referee and he couldn't be touched, but he could do whatever the hell he wanted. And he just decided he was just going to make a joke out of the whole thing. I know it was a joke, but I just didn't, with me. But I thought what was done tonight was very good. I actually found Dean Ambrose to be funny. It made sense because he was just messing with AJ to piss him off because this is all to get himself a foot in the door, which he did get. If anybody who watched Talking Smack, they saw Styles was angry enough to agree to a match with Ambrose, which he said he's already beaten him. So if Ambrose beats AJ next week, he gets another title shot, which is what Ambrose is going for. Those are his methods. All of that was consistent with his character, and I thought his ad-libs were funny. I did. I thought it was funny.
I actually liked his sales pitch promos, I will say that, but just the problem is that AJ Styles is now being dragged into another feud with Dean Ambrose, and none of the feuds that Dean has had with AJ have done all that well. And the reason they're doing this is, of course, because John Cena is away, and he's doing, I think, what is it, American Grit Season 2?
Yeah, I think so.
And that is the hot feud. Instead, we're stuck with a cold hot pocket feud in Dean versus AJ. And I'm like, why don't they just stick James Ellsworth again into this feud? He's obviously got more face support than Dean does, at least.
He's got more face support than like anybody else on the roster. They were chanting Ellsworth like Goldberg. It was Ellsworth. I could not help but to smile, and I'm still not a fan. I'm not, but I couldn't help but to smile because of how he's gotten over the way he has. It's nice to see. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm going to tell you, I did, really did.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with you because that part was enjoyable. I would have liked to see more with Ellsworth and Styles instead of just It's just that, unfortunately, like I said, Dean did kind of drag the match down a little bit with his interference, but not badly. It's just so hard to read this guy because, like, 1 minute he's cutting really good promos down in FCW. The next, he's just the guy that is used for people to punch in the face. I mean, if it weren't for the fact that Seth Rollins exists, Dean would be the most frustrating member of the Shield because I've seen good Dean Ambrose. I've seen what he is capable of, on the independent level, but just for some reason, his WWE run has just not clicked with me. Well, and I guess that's why I'm the most upset with Dean is because I've seen him put in good work, and it's disappointing to me. Yes, I was a Dean Ambrose fan at one point. I saw all those promos he did down in FCW. I saw the match he had with William Regal. It's that lingering disappointment that this guy has not been able to, oddly, fill up to his potential. Because the potential is there. It's just he seems to be defiant in doing things his own way when his own way isn't working. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see what you mean, but I think what they're trying to do is take the face heat that Ellsworth has and transfer it to Dean Ambrose. Do you think that's going to work?
It's not going to work at all. Ellsworth and Dean are two very different baby faces. Dean is the Roddy Piper, and Ellsworth is the... Actually kind of reminds me of those blonde, tiny tag team wrestlers that would... He kind of reminds me sort of like the Rock and Roll Express, in a way. But Dean is the guy that is trying to be sort of the Roddy Piper XP, whereas Ellsworth is sort of that... I just thought of a better name. Barry Horowitz.
I used to love him.
Yeah. Was actually a fairly successful light heavyweight wrestler in the early 90s in some of the independent scene.
Yeah, I was into him. Yeah, I can get that analogy. I really can. So, is that all your thoughts on the main event angle of the show?
Sure. So, what's next?
We're going to move on to Randy Orton versus Luke Harper, which yeah, they're going supernatural with this on both sides because before the match, and I liked Randy Orton giving that promo saying that, like, being involved with Bray Wyatt, he kind of underestimated it, and it's kind of like being in quicksand. He thinks he's going crazy, but that he should worry Bray Wyatt, and that he's going to, like, take Bray Wyatt out. And then Bray Wyatt, he's in the coffin. And it just, The Undertaker, when you see a coffin or a casket in the WWE, you can't help but to think of The Undertaker. So he brings this out, and it's during the match, Luke Harper comes out. They barely get the match going, and Bray Wyatt, with guys in sheep's masks, bring Bray Wyatt out in the casket. And so, of course, this is just like The Undertaker. So, like, there was a thing, they were trying to get Randy Orton in the casket, and then all of a sudden, when they open it again, here's Kane, who hasn't been seen for a whole week. Like, where the hell did Kane pop up? And then Kane and Randy Orton try to get at Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt, and they disappear. So it's all a bit supernatural. Still don't know where it's going, but I'm still intrigued to see where it ends up. My interest has not yet waned on this. Thought it was kind of this is an interesting way to handle the angle. I don't know exactly what they're going for, but I'm willing to, like, wait it out and see where it goes.
Very interesting. That was actually the nicest coffin I've ever seen them drag out. I was like,
yeah,
my God, where did Bray get the money to get that coffin? But he rode the coffin down in to the ring like Steve Austin riding down his pickup truck. That's what gave me those vibes. Every time a wrestler drives something down to the ring, even though it's implausible that thing should be going through the entrance, Bray did it with a coffin. Like Stone Cold did with his ATV when he was the sheriff.
Yeah. It just reminded me of The Undertaker,
It does remind me a little bit of The Undertaker, but the story is pretty much Bray has been trying to absorb the power of The Undertaker and Kane for the last several years now. He succeeded in absorbing Kane's power, and only due to the intervention of Stephanie McMahon was Kane able to regain his demonic control. And because of the fact that Bray has his vassals, which are Rowan and Harper, who absorb the energies of the Undertaker and Kane's energies to keep Bray powerful. Because if he loses Harper and Rowan, Bray loses the power. And Harper is starting to become corrupted by the influences of that demon energy, because he's starting to act a little more independent. Bray is bringing him out as his herald, and I'm not exactly sure Bray realizes that Harper is going to turn on him at some point. All he just needs is the right opportunity to do so. And the reason I think Bray is targeting Orton is because Orton was a past victim of The Undertaker's for 21-1 Rampage at WrestleMania. So he's trying to collect as much of the energy from Undertaker's previous victims as possible to complete whatever wrestling domination plan that he's got going. And what this is most likely going to lead to is a casket match between Orton and Bray. Continuing the theme of them doing these Southern-style main event angles that they've been doing with these four lately. Because nothing's more Southern wrestling than a casket match.
So who do you think, like, what do you think Kane is? Like, is Kane just his backup, or is Kane going to get involved?
I think Kane is going to get involved because Bray has been a consistent thorn in his side for the last several years, trying to steal his demonic energy, trying to make Kane into his servant, doing everything in his power to do a knight conquering the throne situation where Bray slays the king. Because the kings of the underworld have been The Undertaker and Kane since the early 1990s. The Undertaker in 1990 and Kane in 1997. He wants to be the new face of fear, as he said before. And in order to do so, he's got to get rid of at least one of, or if not both, of these individuals. He tried to do it with Undertaker, but Undertaker is simply too powerful for Bray to do that. Kane, however, is a minor demon compared to Undertaker, so his power is much more easy to corrupt and or take over. So Kane feels threatened once again that he now has to deal with this supernatural presence on the SmackDown roster, and Luke Harper's back with him. And there's that little grudge between Kane and Harper. And also Harper has issues with Orton. So it makes a lot of sense. It calls back to past history with these four, and it's in their own little universe, which I really enjoy. It isn't really spreading out into the other feuds right now because you have other acts that can do that.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to do with this, like you.
Yeah. Well, I know some supernatural isn't everybody's thing, but it's something different, you know. One of my favorite feuds of the year has been the Broken Hardys versus the Decay, which was like not at all like anything else that TNA was putting on, and that's the reason why I appreciate it. So if WWE can have a storyline that's not like anything else, I can get into it and appreciate it. So
so you want this
anything else about this?
So you want this feud to be sort of like the Hardys versus Decay, which I have seen, and it was a very, very enjoyable feud, you know.
Yeah.
They managed to gain sympathy for
it's right up there.
They managed to gain face sympathy for a what do you call those things? A droid?
A drone.
A drone, okay.
Vanguard 1?
Yeah, Vanguard 1. They managed to gain face sympathy for a gardener and a drone.
Yeah, I mean, that's right up there with, like, my favorite feuds of the year. Like, the feuds I enjoyed more than that were Miz versus Ziggler and Styles versus Reigns. Those are the only two I enjoyed more than the Decay versus the Broken Hardys, though.
I mean, they were channeling their inner TV horror movie hosts with that feud, with Hardy basically becoming a North Carolina version of Dr. Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror Picture Show. Do they have those kind of those horror televised shows down in Carolina? Did they used to have those? They were all over the country back in the day.
Yeah, I'm sure he's watched some of those. I'm sure there has to be some kind of inspiration. I think he pulled inspiration from a lot of places. Well, let's not get on TNA. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, which was the #1 contender for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Alexa Bliss, took on Naomi tonight. And if Naomi were to win, she would be put into the conversation for, perhaps either getting into the match against that's happening on November 8th, where Alexa Bliss finally gets her title shot against Becky Lynch. Or maybe she even took her spot. We don't know. All Daniel Bryan said was that him and Shane would have to have a talk. But that talk would not be necessary.
Because Pixie Hulk smash! Naomi, the glow should not have crossed the Pixie Hulk because Naomi got in the way of what Pixie Hulk wants, which is that women's championship. What were your thoughts on the match first, Tonya?
Well, I thought that Alexa Bliss, she didn't, really reviewing the match, I didn't think she did a lot of moves. It was much more relying on her viciousness and heel tactics, which I can appreciate. If she, everybody doesn't need to be the same type of performer. And sometimes if you have women that have been trained in the same system, same. And what I can appreciate about all the new crop of women is that they don't. They all have unique sort of styles. Bliss is dirty, dirty, dirty. She will pull your hair. She will, she is going to make the referee count to at least 3 when she's on the ropes. She will do whatever it takes to gain the advantage. And Naomi was wrestling her ass off, but it just wasn't enough because Pixie Hulk kept coming back and dropping her and pulling her hair and doing this and that. I really enjoyed of the match. That I know Naomi she gave her best shot, but it just wasn't good enough. And in the end, a twisted Bliss ended all of her hopes and dreams.
Yep, the Pixie Bomb, as I call it, just destroyed Naomi. I really like the psychology of this match. Naomi was the more athletic and capable competitor, where Bliss had to rely on her smarts in order to get past this obstacle. I really like that leg drop that Naomi did. She hit that on Bliss. Yeah. That was a really, really good move that she did there. I would think that leg drop should probably become a permanent part of her arsenal. But Naomi took one too many chances into the air, and Pixie Hulk caught her. And when you get caught by the Pixie Hulk, what I find funny is that they compare her to Harley Quinn. Recently, I'm like, Harley Quinn? Bliss is not Harley Quinn. Bliss is Bane. Okay, and if Becky Lynch is not careful on November 8th, she's going to end up like steampunk Batman. And Alexa Bliss will destroy her like Bane broke Batman's back. And will be the tiny tyrant of the SmackDown women's division.
She's like, oh, hello. Hello, Becky Lynch. I will break your back.
I will break your puns.
But the thing I really have to put over with Alexa is that she's just so vicious. She's cute and pretty and petite and all that, but she will murder you. Seriously, she is the last person I would want to see in a dark alley.
Yes.
I'd rather come up against Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman and who else?
Nia Jax.
And Nia Jax all together. That's what's up. I see Alexa Bliss. I am running the other way. She is just so mean and vicious, and oh my goodness, she really is 5 feet of fury.
5 feet of fury that just so happens to live in Freddy Krueger's nightmares. Right?
Goodness. I think I wouldn't, if she were to beat Becky Lynch, I wouldn't be mad at it. I really wouldn't.
Especially if she starts showing off some of her viciousness, that she showcased down in NXT. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Alexa Bliss's Carpenter squashes, please go see those. They are some of the funnest matches that I watched in NXT over the last year. Her destroying Tessa Blanchard, her destroying Rachel Ellering, her destroying everybody in her path. With viciousness and fury of somebody who's 7 feet tall and weighs 500 pounds.
Yes, really. She wrestles like she is the biggest, baddest ever. And whew, scared of her. Okay.
You can thank REI for that nickname, by the way. I came up with Pixie Hulk, but she was the first person to notice how viciously evil Alexa Bliss was. And I was like, I think you're onto something here. And everybody else was like, no, it's not possible she could be this vicious, destructive heel. And she turned heel, and she shocked the world.
Yeah, in a very good way. So, yeah, that was a great little match. Looking forward to seeing what her and Becky Lynch finally get to do. So let's go to the next women's angle on this show, which...
Ooh, boy, this was fire.
Off by saying Carmella is confirmed now the worst. Because everybody, it's like the one big unspoken thing about WWE is that Nikki Bella and John Cena are a couple. They've been a couple for a while now. They've been a couple on TV since Total Divas was been on TV. So Carmella comes out and says she's going to spill the tea about Nikki Bella. And she begins to mock every single Nikki Bella hater I have ever disliked on the internet, saying that she only got there because of her looks. And how does she use her sister in the ring when she's the better wrestler? But anyhow, and then said she can do whatever she wants because John Cena's her boyfriend. I was just like, oh, are we going there? And I was so glad when Nikki was like, shame on you, and the crowd was like, shame. Right. That's exactly right. A great line where she said, she was describing what fearless means to her, and she said she's not afraid of a boss or a queen, and definitely not the princess of Staten Island. I was like, yes, Queen Slay. Oh my goodness. This is why, other than Sasha Banks, Nikki Bella is my favorite female wrestler ever. Seriously, I love her so much. The way she conducted the promo, I thought she couldn't talk. I guess when she has material she cares about, she can get the promo across, because this was miles away from, I wished you died in the womb. This was so much better than whatever they had her doing back during that feud. I don't know where this Nikki Bella has been as far as promos go, but it was great. Well, and Carmella is the worst. Okay,
Carmella is indeed one of the more improving and intriguing stories right now in the women's division. She's the smallest person in this division, not named Pixie Hulk, but she's built like a tank, and she's become incredibly vicious, but in a different way. She's conniving. She takes advantage of situations, and she's now adopted this persona of wanting Nikki Bella to sleep with the fishes. And it's enjoyable to see her just poke the stick, poke the Nikki Bella, and she's getting her madder and madder, but in most cases this would work to her advantage, but not with Nikki Bella. Not when she has the Bella Hammer. Not when she can level you with one hit. And she tries to do this whole thing where she's, oh, well, John Cena's your man. You can get away with pretty much everything around here. And she's so angry. She has let her jealousy and hatred of being upstaged by Nikki Bella consume her. And it's the most enjoyable thing to watch. And,
yeah, it is enjoyable.
And Nikki's promo, she had the right alignment to say this promo. She didn't have AJ Lee biting at her ankles this time. Seriously, I hated the pipe bombshell.
I didn't like it either.
I thought it was incredibly demeaning to everybody on that side of the roster to have AJ Lee say these things about people without consulting them first.
A rebuttal or reply. And, like, it was very hypocritical because she was standing up there saying all that. Boo-boo, you were with CM Punk.
Yeah.
So couldn't somebody say... And then her character, by the way, got famous by being with Daniel Bryan. Then she hopped from Daniel Bryan to CM Punk, to Kane, to Cena, to Dolph Ziggler. But you're standing up there talking about how these women have cozied up to the right people. Okay. But she was a heel. So, the crowd was cheering, which they shouldn't have been doing. But for her alignment was correct, but it wasn't the right climate. Like, it wasn't the right time. Like, if you had a heel cut their promo now, I believe they get the proper response. But for the way the division was being treated and for the way the women were, and it wasn't the right time for that promo. That's what I'll say about that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they were trying to start up. They were trying to start up something in the women's division, but that something turned out to backfire, like a lot of their plans that they've done. Because when you get two people like AJ Lee, who's hot-headed and headstrong, and the Bella Twins, who are hot-headed and headstrong, it's like introducing a bunch of cats to water. They are going to try and rip each other's throats out, and that's what the Bella Twins and AJ tried to do to one another. And it was ridiculous, because it's not helping anybody to do this. What we found out is that it didn't really help anybody. Instead, it exasperated the situation, created one of the biggest divides amongst the fandom, in that you've got people who are joining the Bella Army, you've got people on AJ Lee's side, and then you've got all the other people who are confused, like, why aren't they giving X a shot? X being any female wrestler.
Which still kind of happens, which, let's a small detour. And I want to talk about for a few minutes what happened this weekend with Mick Foley. His intentions are good, but he was corresponding with a fan in DMs on Twitter, talking about why Summer Rae at the moment wasn't getting pushed. Here come all these people. Like, come on, let's face it, people. Summer Rae is not a good wrestler. She's not. Like, I am a fan of her character work, but she is awkward as hell in the ring. She is. I've seen enough Summer Rae matches when the best you can say is, that was pretty good about any match you've seen of her. Is like, and then why is it that you have to cut time from Sasha or Charlotte and give Summer Rae time? What about all the useless, like, Golden Truth, Shining Star time, or Titus O'Neil? Why aren't you saying, why are these guys on TV? Put Summer in their spot. I just don't understand the mentality of some female wrestling fans that feel like they have to tear down other women to build up women who aren't getting time. That's not helping.
It is not healthy at all, and I agree with you. You know, I said it on Speaks a few months back on one of the shows. I'm like,
I know.
You have to be supportive of these people, not just of one person, but of the rest of them, because they are in a male-dominated environment. And if you go after one or two of these, three of these people, sooner or later they're going to get the idea into their fixed skulls that, well, we can just push the rest of the division down if everybody's saying this. What you say on the Bird thing and what you say on Facebook, they do read it. And you better be very careful about that, because what they're going to do is they're going to take that and they're going to go, well, this gives us the A-OK to de-push the women. So your fave might end up jobbing to somebody unintentionally because you did this. And the more that they poke at Santa's evil herald, Mick Foley, the more repercussions there's going to be for the women's division, because suddenly Mick might not be so nice about the women's division anymore. Suddenly he might just get that egotistical idea that, like many of these ring veterans have, that I need to get even with these youngins, need to prove a point to them. And he'll do something stupid to cause this to completely train wreck.
He actually, I think it was earlier today, I'm sorry, he did do something stupid by going ahead and saying that Sasha and Charlotte were going to be the main event. And then everybody lost their mind and people started reporting, oh, it's officially the main event. And then somebody in WWE was like, you better correct that now. And then he was like, well, they haven't really picked out the match order yet. So, which, like, usually they know. Not if they don't know the whole match order, they definitely know which match is going on freaking last most of the time. So he might have just put his foot in his mouth trying to, and I think it was to make up and overcompensate for what happened with this situation on Twitter. And if you have somebody that's that close, first of all, Mick Foley is not really a general manager. He shows up and they tell him what to do, just like they tell Sasha what to do. He has no power, so I don't understand why people are bothering him about the way people are booked. He has no control over that.
Yeah, because he made himself accessible. He made himself open as this crusader for women's wrestling for the last few years, even though I'm like, I look over and go, is this guy really a crusader for women's wrestling? Because a lot of what he says just doesn't add up. And I always kind of get creeped out by it, actually.
I've heard a lot of people say that. I don't see what's creepy about it. I really don't.
I mean,
maybe I'm missing it.
I mean, he is older than these people, like by 20, 30 years, but at the same time, you know, he's the most accessible person right now on this roster. So they decided to go after him because they know that WWE will read this and they'll do X this or X that, and a knee-jerk reaction that, oh, the fans want this. Well, we'll give them to this, but we'll do it in the worst possible way possible. And they also know that Dewey Foley is on the writing team now. See, that's one of the drawbacks of having connections and family in this wrestling business thing. And they know that Dewey's on the writing team, so now they're going to go after Mick, who they see as the weak link, to get Dewey to change things in his scripts. I guess that's what they're going after.
But really, who should they should be tweeting at incessantly about this is Vince McMahon. He has a Twitter. Somebody reads his Twitter too.
And Vince does not care.
No, he does not. Okay.
Vince feeds off of these people. He enjoys it when these people go after him. It gives him life. It gives him sustenance. Why do you think I call him Satan, people? Okay. He lives off of your misery. Stop focusing on Vince McMahon for 5 seconds. Focus on other things. There's a whole wide world of wrestling out there beyond WWE that you can focus on so that you don't have an aneurysm or a seizure or a stroke or a heart attack because your favorite lost in 5 seconds in a squash match.
Okay, well, let's get to somebody who did lose tonight in a squash match, which kind of surprised me. Baron Corbin just pretty much owned Jack Swagger, and I gotta think they have some plan. I've always knew that they had some plans for him. They were just keeping it on the back burner. But I think those plans are going to come sooner rather than later. I think they're preparing him for a feud with The Miz. Or The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. I think they're preparing him for like something in the intercontinental waters. You know.
I
so
mean,
they're
Dolph
just
would
like...
be, I mean, Dolph would be the perfect transitional champion if they decided to do that, because Baron is showcasing some skills now that people didn't realize that he had.
Yeah.
His promo ability has gotten a lot better. He's getting more and more confident each time that he steps into the ring. So he's obviously paying attention to something. And he's doing the corrections that he needs. He's not as nervous in the ring as he used to be. And it's only taken him a couple weeks. Of course, they also got him away from Apollo Crews, which was a positive. And instead got him with Jack Swagger. And Corbin hit that wonderful end of days on Swagger. And once again, it was another psychology-heavy match where he focused on the head and the ear of Swagger, got him softened up for the end of days, and just destroyed him. I also loved that pre-tape promo he did.
Yeah, so did I. That was great. It was good all around for him tonight.
Yeah. Another thing I want to mention before about the Carmella and Nikki segment, I was like, I think this match, this no DQ match that they're probably going to be planning for these two, is going to be 50,000 times more violent than Charlotte versus Sasha Banks in Hell in a Cell.
Well, it's way more personal.
Yeah. I mean, it's like even... But the funniest line was when Nikki said, I wear the pants in this relationship. I'm like, Nikki, honey, do you actually own a pair of pants?
Yeah.
Because John wears jorts and I don't know what the exact... And you wear trunks. So...
Daisy Dukes. Yeah. She doesn't wear pants a lot.
And then I'm not sure why Carmella brought up Brie, because Brie is actually busy making another addition to the dynasty that is the Danielson-Cena line. Danielson, Brie, Nikki, Cena line in this baby.
Can we talk for just a small minute about how Curt Hawkins has inherited Eva Marie's gimmick?
Eva must be really mad right now. Or are they going to pair those two up?
I do not know, but like I was like, when he came out, like, he is not going to wrestle. Stop playing with me. And then Apollo Crews hit him and he got out the ring and he was like, oh, you've ruined my debut. I'm out of here. And I was like, I knew it. I knew he wasn't going to wrestle. Like, I am so glad I figured that out before, like, it became really obvious. Dude is never going to wrestle. I don't know why it's the funniest thing to me.
Curt Hawkins has a ton of useless trivia packs that he got off the back of a cereal box. And true. Apparently is spreading his joy and terror to the SmackDown roster by insensibly talking about them. And Apollo Crews has managed to get on my good side for once by punching Curt Hawkins in the mouth.
Yeah, I wanted it. That means he won, though, right? He won by forfeit. He
won by forfeit.
Yay, Apollo Crews won a match. Yay. Oh, poor little Tank Tank. Poor little Tank Tank. I also liked the 6-man. I thought that was a really fun match.
Oh, I love the 6-man. Let's talk about that next. Do you want to go first?
Yes, I loved the fact that Dolph was the face in peril, because I think he does that very well. I also love the fact that Marlies pulled his foot and got the advantage for her husband. And my favorite part is that Heath Slater was the freaking hot tag. Like, how far... He used to be the king of jobbers, and now he is getting the hot tag, and the crowd is losing the crowd is like, we want Heath. We want Heath. Like that, I cannot tell you how much, like, he was like one of the few guys of the Nexus that I actually liked, other than like Daniel Bryan. But like I kind of could tell that Daniel Bryan was above all those other guys. Like he wasn't meant for that group anyway. But like he was always like with the Southern accent and the way he carried himself, and he always, like, I think even when he was on the game show, he was calling himself the one man band, and I just enjoyed him. I always thought he was funny and entertaining, and the fact that he's not only a champion, but he's over and he's getting hot tags. Love it. Like, I just had a big smile on my face when he got into the match. And I also like the fact that the Miz's team won, and I liked how they won because they're keeping it dirty. And I appreciate that when heels are supposed to lose clean and win dirty.
I'm so happy that you enjoyed that match because I enjoyed it as well. Because this was a well-oiled team that Miz and Maurice have managed to scheme and construct together. Because this is a team operation. We need to understand this very quickly, is that these two are the best schemers right now in the WWE right now. In the world of schemers on the SmackDown roster, no one can out-scheme the Miz and Maurice. His muscle. And Maurice has managed to pick up two perfect goons in the Spirit Squad to accompany her lovely husband to beat the living tar out of Dolph Ziggler and Team Rhino Slater. And did you notice something about the Miz and the Spirit Squad? They wore matching trunks. They wore matching gear.
I did not notice that.
Yeah, Miz had dark green, black gear on.
Wow.
To complement the Spirit Squad.
You know, but the Miz and Maurice, they are very good at those type of details. They are very meticulous with their presentation. Like, so yeah, that's good. That's really great.
Same thing with Ziggler and Slater and Rhino. They actually also had similar matching gear.
Wow. I did not notice that. I guess I was too busy having fun because that was a fun match.
I'm really impressed with the Spirit Squad. They are starting to revitalize themselves here. Kenny and Mikey are putting in very good work, and it's certainly better than the Headbangers, which I think was the original team that they were going to put in the Goons spot. But then they saw one match with Mosh and Rasher and went, "Wonder if those Spirit Squad guys are available."
Yes, the Headbangers, they were awful. Good gracious.
Mm-hmm. So you have this well-oiled, coordinated team, and everybody did their part. The Miz did his cheating. Maurice did her cheating by pulling the leg of Ziggy. I mean, for Ziggy's sake, he was very thankful it wasn't Mace this time. And the Miz punched Slater in the jaw, which is one of his weaknesses.
Yeah.
And the Spirit Squad got a win over the tag team champions.
Yes, they did.
So are we looking at the Spirit Squad facing against Slater and Rhino next?
They might. But before that, they might have to team up because, like, SmackDown roster isn't big, and SmackDown has Survivor Series coming up next.
Mm-hmm.
So some people that don't like each other are going to have to work together. Like, I can imagine the Usos and American Alpha are going to have to be on a team together.
Oh, the House Painters and the Athletic Jocks are going to be in the same team together, along with possibly the Hype Bros or the Ascension.
Right.
That's going to be real interesting.
And does Raw even have enough tag teams for that match?
Yeah, they have Enzo and Cass. They have the Cruiserweight tag teams.
Yeah.
I believe they have a few others that they can put in.
Anderson and Gallows. And
possibly the New Day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure the New Day is going to be in that match.
Well, actually, they have a match coming up. They have a match coming up Hell in a Cell against Sheamus and Cesaro.
Yeah, but like Daniel Bryan said, some people are just going to have to work together for the team. Also, Natalya coming out and making her pitch using Whitney Houston references. That was funny. That, like, I hope they continue. Like, somehow she's able to weasel in Whitney Houston lyrics every time she talks now. It was funny to me. Like, it was a lot of funny stuff on the show.
I mean, I enjoyed the Cats segment because I think the Cats are probably a better worker than she is right now. Reverend Kane is going to approve. Reverend Kane is going to approve of this.
Is that all from the show? I think we covered everything. Do you want to give SmackDown a rating? Because I'm doing the review, so people will get to read mine later on.
I thought this was a very well-constructed, well-booked show that continued the storylines that they have been working on for the last several months. We now have new intrigue in the tag division with the Spirit Squad possibly facing against the Slater and Rhino. The Nikki Bella versus Carmella feud just got a lot more vicious. And Alexa Bliss is proving that she is one of the top heels on the roster right now. If Mark Henry ever retires, they should give his theme to Alexa Bliss, or just dump Braun Strowman's theme over to Alexa, because that initial roar, that's Alexa Bliss. That's not Braun, that's Alexa. And we also have the continuing feud with the Intercontinental Championship, the continuing feud with AJ and Dean. I wonder how they'll sort it out next week. I know that they got a match coming up between Dean and AJ, which will probably lead to Dean winning, which, oh boy. Oh, Swift's not going to be happy when he comes back.
I don't know. He might like it. You never know.
I mean,
he's been kind of good, kind of high on Dean lately.
Oh boy. Well, whenever you get high on Dean, it always seems to be that Dean will pull the rug out from under you and do something that will make you rage.
Okay, you got a rating for the show?
I've got a rating of A-. This was a really relaxing, enjoyable show. I enjoyed every minute of it. There really wasn't anything that I could really nitpick, apart from the fact that I wanted Corbin and Swagger to go longer. That was the only thing.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, let's get into Raw. Let me just say, I only watched the last full hour of Raw. I was switching, because Monday nights are my reality TV nights, so I got to watch my reality TV, and then I'll switch between commercials. But one of the things I wanted to notice is that I heard Seth Rollins call Chris Jericho Sparkle Crotch. And my initial reaction, stupidest thing, wrestling is so dumb. Like, this is stupid. And then, like, 2.5 hours later, I'm sitting here laughing at Sparkle Crotch. So maybe they got me. A big thing that happened was that Goldberg returned. And I know he popped the rating. Ratings went up. Everybody's like, oh, well, he's a star. Put the belt on him. And everybody knows how I feel about part-timers. And I also was reading online that Vince McMahon, who, like, he is way more out of touch than even I thought he was surprised by the reception Goldberg got. And Goldberg might be coming back for more matches. Now, let me just say, I usually rally against part-timers. Not in this case. Yeah, put the belt on him. Matter of fact, put the whole damn company on him. Like, if they're not going to go with the guys who show up every week, Then tell Goldberg to come show up every week. Tell him to work house shows so you can get some attendance up. Don't just pop a damn rating on a show where you pretty much didn't do shit else. Like that's the thing that bothered me. It wasn't that Goldberg was there. Everybody, why didn't you know more people were gonna watch because Goldberg was coming? Why didn't you do something better with the rest of your talent? Like, that's what irritates me. I've never been a Goldberg fan. I'm still not. Still don't like him. Still don't care. I don't care about none of that. But if he's popping and he's bringing in ratings and if he's going to bring more money to these other guys, then yeah, put the belt on him. Put the company on his goddamn back. Anything, anybody at this point. Like, seriously, I'm not a fan of James Ellsworth, but if that guy gets over and he's popping ratings and he's going to bring more people to house shows, put the damn belt on him. Just do something. Women who are busting their ass more money so they won't have to perform in full of half-filled arenas. I don't care what it takes. If that's what I am at this point. It's not about principles or pride or who I like. I'm so concerned about the wrestlers that I care about that I am willing to take guys that I don't in important spots if that means they're going to overall help the business. Now, if Goldberg is just here to sell your stupid ass video game that people are going to buy anyway, and if he's just going to come to do the job to Brock Lesnar and then go home, then fuck it. I don't care. That's temporary, and that's not really going to help anybody who's actually wrestling in the company. That's my only point. That's the only point I have with Goldberg. If you do something with him, then do something that makes a goddamn difference. And not just use nostalgia and use the people who actually put in the work years and years ago to actually make people stars and rest on that every once in a while to pop a rating. Because, like, what is that going to do in the long term? It's not going to do any good. Goldberg is not going to be here to help in the long term. And I don't give a shit, and I'll continue to not give a shit. And that's all I have to say about that. What are your thoughts, Fizzy?
Oh, well, that was a Tonya bomb, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't seen those before, then welcome to the show, because we do those on every Live After SmackDown Live, and every time I bring Tonya on board for Speaks. Well, that was one of your finest Tonya bombs. I'm sitting back here smiling behind this avatar going, wow, she hit all the really big points there. Goldberg's a part-timer. You know, 2K brought him in to sell their glitchy video game that I'm not going to buy because I don't buy WWE 2K games. I have enough wrestling video games already from the PS2 that I really don't need one for a modern console. Especially not at $60. Good Lord, I'm not paying $60 for a WWE game. I don't pay $60 for any kind of video game. I usually wait until it's deeply used or on sale or I can get it with a gift card. I think it's completely silly to buy games or pre-order them because, you know, just wait a little bit. You know, unless it's a game that you really, really, really want and can pay with a gift card, then you can go get it. But they brought him in because Goldberg wasn't willing to work with WWE, and they were able to do the 2K connection to have Bill Goldberg come in, pop the crowd, do the Goldberg thing, and he's going to be facing Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series? And wow. I mean, the story here that they're telling is the great warrior Goldberg coming in to try and slay the beast and his 1,000-year-old ancient immortal wizard of a manager. You know, he's doing it for the kids. And I'm like, well, little Timmy's going to see an execution at Survivor Series, unfortunately, there, Goldberg. None of that holy water from Valhalla is going to save you from Brock Lesnar. especially when you two collide in what is going to be a clumsy, fumbling match. Because I remember the last time that these two went off in the sacred square circle and managed to produce a disgrace that was one of the worst WrestleMania matches of all time, many people say. The one at WrestleMania 20. And I have to look forward to reviewing that. And seeing what you guys do, because there's a 49-year-old Gil Goldberg and a 30-something Brock Lesnar who's gone through so many issues this year with the USDA and UFC and all these drug testing issues that he's had. What kind of match do you think that those two are going to produce in the ring? Think about that for 5 seconds here, folks. What kind of match will they produce? Because all I can see is horror. And I generally don't mind watching horrifying matches that unfold, and this will be one such example. I'm just hoping that this match ends mercifully with Brock's wife, Sable, coming out with a club, bonking Brock in the back of the head, and dragging him back to the cave for dinner and snoo-snoo. Because that's the only way that this match will mercifully end, or Shane McMahon is going to get that annoying money jacket and come out and say, "Oh, I want to fight Brock Lesnar," despite the fact that he got destroyed by Undertaker last time. Yeah, this will not end well, and all to sell a silly little video game. This is what video games has wrought upon the world of wrestling. This evil known as Bill Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar 2, live in Survivor Series. Oh, God.
I wonder how, because Canadian fans tend to, instinctively sometimes just do the opposite of what American fans do. So I wonder how this is going to be received in Toronto. If I do watch the match, because I still haven't decided yet, because I don't care about either one of them. That probably will be the main reason to watch it, just to see how the crowd reacts.
I mean, the other matches on Survivor Series, it looks like. I mean, I think that this Hell in a Cell match between Rollins and Owens will be their last until the next Raw pay-per-view, which I believe is Roadblock or the Royal Rumble. So they're probably going to do Jericho Owens at Survivor Series. And God, will that be... Oh, you're laughing. Yeah, that's going to be an equally as horrific match, because you've got 45-year-old Chris Jericho with his beer gut and tattoos versus Kevin Owens, who has been sort of phoning it in lately. Although it's understandable because he's dealing with Mr. I Wreck Everything Seth Rollins lately. How much money has Seth Rollins managed to flush down the toilet with all the people that he's injured and the ratings that he's not drawn? He caused Raw's ratings to drop 13% last year. Don't think I haven't forgotten about that. I'm just waiting for them to pull the trigger on Owens Jericho, because at least that will be an experience. Not sure it will be a good match. Maybe Jericho will get some motivation because he's wrestling in front of the home crowd of Canada, even though he's from Winnipeg, and probably will be booed out of the arena by people who are from Toronto.
Oh, Jesus.
Rollins, I don't know where Rollins goes from here. I mean, I
think he's going to lose. He's going to end up being on a team. I think his next big match is going to be against Triple H.
Oh, boy.
Woohoo! Cannot wait. Yeah, boy. Yep.
You're looking forward to it, or are you dreading it?
Oh, God. I am Triple H. I mean, if it's a gimmick match, I'll like it. But if not, no, I don't particularly care for Triple H wrestling. So yeah,
I mean,
Raw
if they do,
is.
if they do the match where Triple H is teaming with Stephanie, and Mick Foley turns evil and decides to unleash his evil Santa powers because he is Santa's evil herald, and has a team from Raw face against Triple H's team, which will probably be a few NXT debuts. I could see a team of like him, Joe, Nakamura, somebody else from NXT, and Stephanie, of course, in this like 5 versus 5 match for like the control of Raw, just to get Mick out of there.
Sheesh. Well, I enjoy SmackDown.
Also,
I cannot do Raw anymore.
I mean, I like some of the things they're trying to do. I mean, the idea of Braun Strowman destroying Sami Zayn fills me with joy and happiness.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you know what? That is interesting because for all the flaws I've ever seen in Sammy's character, I do enjoy him in the ring. And seeing him work with Strowman will be very interesting. But
I mean, he can sell
I'm looking forward to the 2 of the Hell in a Cell matches coming up. So that
Sasha versus Charlotte and Reigns versus Rusev.
Yes, because I think Roman Reigns and Rusev probably going to open the show. I think they're going to space the Hell in a Cell matches out to where one's going to come on real early, and that's going to be the United States Championship. And then whenever they get their heads out of their asses and decide which title is going to main event, the one that's not going to main event is going to go in the middle of the show. And then the last one is going to go on last.
I mean, they could do a segment where... I think they could do a segment where Sasha Banks beats Seth Rollins up with a lead pipe and says, "We're going on last."
Yeah, that means we only have 2 Hell in a Cell matches. That would really work for me. Because like I just don't understand that feud in no way whatsoever. Like, why did you put Rusev and Reigns in the damn Hell in a Cell then? Honestly, that's the only match that the only Hell in a Cell match that I'm not worried about, because Rusev in their brawls have been vicious as hell. So I can imagine what they're going to try to do in the Hell in a Cell. And I just hope they don't try to limit the women because they're women. But I just don't care about Kevin Owens facing. I don't care about Kevin Owens. I want him to turn face. This dude that I'm seeing every week that's carrying this belt, and this is not. I don't know this guy. This guy was not the Kevin Owens I got when he first came to NXT. I don't recognize this dude, and he can go somewhere and go and find the other Kevin Owens and please bring him back.
Yes, please have him just destroy everybody that's annoying me right now.
Everybody. Like, why is he even dealing with Chris Jericho? Like, seriously. I just want him to bop it. As soon as Jericho opens his mouth, just smack him in it. Like, why do you need a best friend? Dude's cutting into your check, into your TV time, into your spotlight. Get rid of him. Like, that's the thing that really, like, they gave the belt to Kevin Owens, and ever since then, it's just been blah. That's really what's irritating me about Raw.
Is because they now Kevin Owens has this annoying, condescending, weasel who says he's his best friend, but really, really wants that red shiny thing that Kevin Owens has in his possession. And is doing the Chris Jericho thing where he tries to weasel his way into title matches for whatever reason because he's this annoying troll, much like Dean Ambrose, that just simply won't go away unless you put him in a coffin and send him off to Siberia.
God. Yeah. Well, you have any more thoughts before we wrap this show up? Because I got to finish up the review.
Did the commentary team seem off on SmackDown tonight, or was it just me? Because Mario
made a lot of mistakes. He did, and I call him Mario on purpose. I know how to pronounce his name by now, but that's my gimmick, so I just mispronounce his name.
Yeah, because he was tripping over his lines, and then of course, I'm starting to turn on Otunga.
Starting to.
I hadn't really heard all of his annoyances until now, but in every segment he was in, he was like, well, Miz is just jealous because, he doesn't have an Academy Award. I'm like, dude.
But, I liked JBL in the main event, him panicking that Ellsworth could have won the title. I actually enjoyed that. Even Otunga had the Chin who got the win. I thought that was funny. But otherwise, the rest of the show, they were kind of off, kind of tripping all over the place.
I mean, I was half expecting Otunga's wife to walk down the ramp and just slap him in the face when he did that segment with Miz and Maurice. The Academy Award thing. Because, don't drag me into this, honey. Don't drag me into your madness. I already have enough madness on my own to deal with being a Hollywood movie star.
The thing I've always said is this: the only thing that SmackDown would improve on is if they had Corey Graves. Then the show would be so much better.
Mr. Sarcasm versus Mr. JBL, that would be a very interesting pairing.
I think it could work because I think for some reason Corey Graves could get JBL to stop talking over people and yelling over him because he would cut his ass down because nobody else has the balls to do that. And Corey Graves would be like, well, there you go again. Can I get finished what I was saying?
Well, him and Agent 47, Tom Phillips, have the ability to do so.
All right. It's been fun. I enjoy SmackDown. The review will be up in about an hour or so. And that's all for this week, people. Keep praying for Raw. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, we kind of trashed Raw. Thank you all for tuning on this edition of Live After SmackDown Live. The show will be up on both the Cage Side Seats YouTube channel and, of course, on this one, broadcasting live right now. And tune in a couple weeks because we will be, I'll be doing Hell in a Cell Speaks. So that will be pretty interesting because I've now started covering all the Raws as, Tonya and Andrew and company are now covering the SmackDown pay-per-views.
Yeah, you're going to, also, I'm going to cover all the joint ones too. So I'm going to do Survivor Series. And I'm trying to get you and at least one more other person. I think I have somebody for Survivor Series. I think Eddie Mack wants to do it. But if anybody wants to jump on the pay-per-views, the SmackDown pay-per-views, look at my profile on Cage Side Seats and shoot me an email. Thank you for listening, everybody. Bye-bye.